If there's one thing you want to take away from this video, let it be this. If you are in the market of buying a tech device, hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm your host and this is the After. So yeah, I told you about the Windows 11 update and you probably are excited to try that, right? But you cannot. Why? Because there is a minimum requirement for you to be able to update to Windows 11, and that is, there are three major things. First, there is a TPM requirement, then there's secure boot, and the third, which is limiting most of the people, is that you should have one of the latest generation processors, right? So if you are using a device which is, I think, Ryzen 3 and below and Intel generation 7 and below, you probably cannot install Windows 11 on it, and there is a reason to that. And while most of the people believe that it is due to capitalism and Windows is just trying to extort money from you, because the thing is, yeah, Windows 11 is a free upgrade, so it is not going to make money just with the Windows itself. So Microsoft will have to come up with a different way to make money from the Windows 11. So the word around the town is, if it can make you purchase one of its latest devices or one of other latest devices that run Windows, it will earn money from that device, and it is not going to directly earn money from the update itself. So although that is a popular opinion, that is not exactly what the reason is. The reason actually is security. And yeah, I know your chip is really powerful. It is maybe i5 or i7. Even if it's 7th generation, it's a powerful chip and it can run a lot of things today's chips can. But there are some software, some hardware integration in the chip itself that is not available on the older generation of chips when they were in the making, right? So when Intel was making the 7th generation chip, when it was making the 10th generation chip, it did add a lot of hardware integration which today can support a lot of security requirements that Windows 11 imposes, right? So what happens, these security requirements are also there in Windows 10 actually, but these are optional. But in Windows 11, every kind of underlying security is actually compulsory, and you cannot upgrade to Windows 11 without meeting those security requirements. Now, your chip can probably still support those security requirements. It still can, but the issue with that is it will make your device extremely slow to the point it is mostly unusable. I guess some chips become 30% or 50% slower. Some chips become significantly slower. Even 30% is significantly slower, but some chips are become so slow that it is just unusable at that point. And Windows cannot Windows cannot do that, right? Even if you're aware that it's because of security that it's slowing down, it cannot slow down its older devices because it will affect the user experience. You cannot directly see the security, you cannot directly see an OS's security, right? So you're not going to praise that, but you can directly see the performance of your device and you are going to criticize how slow your device has become. So yeah, so the question that remains is, security is important, right? And in coming years, you're gonna have to upgrade to a newer OS because of security patches. So do you think it is fair to buy a device and 3 years later find out that it is not compatible enough to be more secure? So your choice is either to run an unsecure device or buy a new device just after 3 years. It's not really Windows' fault, because they will have to improve their security, right? With time, every OS will have to increase their security and import and provide security patches, right? But the usability still scales down to like if I'm a user, I'm buying a device right now, I'm concerned that after 3 years, if I buy a top performing device, after 3 years it will become unusable because it is not secure enough. How am I supposed to buy a laptop that, like, why will I buy a laptop that only runs for 3 years? If I'm buying a laptop, I'm probably thinking or planning to use it for a decade at least. Like if I'm buying a like high-end device, right? Why will I just buy a high-end device just for 2 or 3 years? That is a good question. So now, as a person who owns a device which does not support Windows 11, you will have to be using Windows 10 till they are providing support for that, right? So they will, I believe they will still be releasing security patches for Windows 10 for those who cannot upgrade to 11. And of course, who can upgrade to 11, it's a good deal for them. But after some time, the support will go off, and then you will have to buy a newer device if you're concerned about the security of that device. So yeah, the conclusion is, even if you're buying a really high-end device and you're planning to use it for a decade, you probably cannot, because after a few years it won't be secure enough to be using professionally. I mean, you can still use it, right? But probably not for your business because it is not secure enough, and it is gonna, like, that device becomes redundant, right? You won't be using it for a longer time. Like, say for a few years you'll still be getting Windows 10 patches, but after some time they will stop doing that. They will force everyone to come to Windows 11 and get new devices, get better devices, secure devices, and after 3 years of that, they'll release another OS which or another patch that requires another system upgrade. So that is actually a good question, but I do not have an answer to that. Like, currently it seems like that is your only option. You'll have to upgrade your device every 4 or 5 years just to keep it secure enough. So that is why the if there's one thing you want to take away from this video, let it be this: if you are in the market of buying a tech device, if you think that 2 years older device is giving you more value for your buck than today's latest device, still prefer today's device, because a 2-year older device is going to become redundant in just 1 or 2 more years, right? So always prefer the latest device because it will last longer. If not because of performance, at least because of security, it will last longer than a 2-year-old device that you might think is better now, except if you are probably buying an Apple device, because Apple does provide support for like longer term supports, right? So like 6 is still getting iPhone 6 is still getting the security patches and updates, but like Android phones that were released in 2015 are not getting those patches. They are now useless. They are very, very insecure today. So just in 5 years, your Windows laptop and your Android phone are gonna become redundant. So if you're in the market and buying a Windows laptop or an Android phone, try to buy the latest one, and do not try to think that a 2-year-old chip is equally good in performance compared to today's chip, which is true, but it's not equally good with security. So you should be buying the latest one because you can use it for a longer time compared to that 2 years old phone or laptop. So that's been it. If you learned something new from this video, make sure to like it, share it, comment below, and definitely do subscribe to the channel. That's been it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.